That means that it's Thursday. That means that it's the red zone. The red zone. Josh Tabacar, principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland, IT, Garland, USA. Ready here to get some knowledge from a different level, different angle. We have great guests, but you know what? The most important guest is you. You on that side. So if you're seeing us on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, whatever it is, please comment. Go along later on, like it, and share it. That way, this is free PD. No excuses. It's all at your fingertips. So join in the conversation. You're part of it, and you're the most crucial part as we're preparing for the 23-24 school year. So if you're in Alaska or you're in Hawaii, if you are in Maine or in Florida or anywhere in the 48 middle, you're part of this conversation. What do you think about that, Dean Packard?
I tell you what, Josh, you get me fired up every time you do an intro. Man, I can't keep up with that mojo. Thursday nights, again, everything we do, Josh, is about getting a little bit better in the field of education. And tonight, we have a group of people who, guess what? Don't get paid for what they do, but have unbelievable responsibility to do what's right by children and teachers and learning communities across the country. So we talk about school boards who have to make great decisions, tough decisions in the moment. And that's really cool. And I'm super excited to be able to have this conversation tonight with all of them. My name is Dean Packard, the principal of Charlton Middle School in Charlton, Massachusetts, and one of the co-founders of Unlock the Middle. And Josh, tonight, we're going to unlock something we've never done before, going to the top peripheral of education inside of these districts and really getting a lens on what these school boards actually do. So really great to see you, my friend. Did you have a good day?
Awesome day. You know what? It's TikTok. We're having graduates every day at MPA. We're at over 70 ready for next week at this time, Dean. Our year is done in regards to graduates. So I'm preparing that speech. I've got this lady that I work with. She's always pushing me to get that speech in, and we're ready. Because you know what? For me, as a high school principal, the best thing ever is hearing that name, seeing that kid walk across that stage to that mark, shake their hand, because that's the journey that began in pre-K. So it's a beautiful feeling for all of us that reach that milestone right there, shaking that hand. So I'm looking forward to it. How about you, brother?
I'll tell you what, my day was great. Listen, a lot of things going on right now, not the least of which getting through the state mandated testing. You know what, we could have a long talk about that. But again, my job is to create that feel for kids, to make sure that they feel as though that their school is their school and that they have every right to be there and that they're part of the ownership team of what we do with learning and all about them. Okay. Because every great school is all about kids. There's no doubt about that. And we've had that discussion many times. And tonight, like I said, we're going to dig a little bit deeper. So I'll tell you what, why don't we bring our guests in? Let's get this started because they didn't come here to listen to us tonight. Hi, Amy.
Hello.
We got Michael. I got my whole list right here. Michael, welcome. Let's go down to the next one right here. We have Quentin. Quentin, welcome. And Johnny, last one. Everybody, welcome to the show. Unlock the Middle is about you tonight. Welcome. Why don't we go right around? Amy, why don't you start off? Who you are, where you're from, where you represent, please.
Okay. My name is Amy Vodich, and I am a school board member on the Nordonia Hills City School District School Board. We are in Ohio. We're about halfway between Akron and Cleveland. We have about 3,000 students, and we are, I would consider us a suburb.
Well, thank you, Amy. Appreciate that. Welcome to the show. Michael.
Hi, good evening. I'm Michael Thorner. I am a school board member in the West Valley School District here in Yakima, which is in the center of Washington State. Our community is the city itself is about 100,000 people, and we're on the western side of the district, so we're a suburban district as well. We have about 5,500 students in our district. I am a transactions business lawyer and estate planning attorney in a law firm that I'm a partner in. I am originally born and raised in Yakima. I went all the way through the West Valley School District, through the same progression of schools that my kids and my brother's kids are going through. So I just basically wanted to be on the school board because I believe that strong public schools are essential for a strong community or for having a great community. And I am a very well-educated person, but I am not a professional educator. So I'm just here to lend my time and my experience to our school board.
Michael, thank you very much. I love that. We're going to dig a little bit deeper in a moment, too. Quentin, welcome to the show.
Indeed, indeed. Yo, let me start by talking about how much I love this energy. Yo, y'all brought the energy. I love that.
We call it the heat.
So call it the heat. I'll take it. Well, I'm a Mavericks fan, so I don't know if I call it the heat. We got a little
All
beef
right, I'm a
there, but
Celtics
it's all
fan, so I'm
good.
not talking to you tonight.
Well, my name is Quentin Phillips, and everyone calls me Q. So please feel free to call me Q. And I'm a school board member here in Fort Worth, Texas, in Fort Worth ISD. So greetings from the great state of Texas, everyone. So I'm born and raised here in Fort Worth, much like Michael was talking about in his hometown. Born and raised here in Fort Worth, went to Fort Worth ISD schools, and now full circle, I get to represent. We have single member districts, so I get to represent the district in which I grew up in which I matriculated, and that really is a beautiful, divine moment for me, and I'm glad and honored to be able to serve in that capacity. So I'm from a little neighborhood called Stop 6 here on the east side of Fort Worth, so greetings from the capital of Fort Worth, Stop 6, everybody.
Well, thank you very much, Quentin. We appreciate that. And again, we're going to dig in a little bit deeper in one moment. Johnny, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. My name is Johnny Beach, as Tovar likes to call me, Juanito Playa. But anyway, I'm a school board member. I'm in my third term of the Garland Independent School District. We have 53,000 students that we take care of on a daily basis. We take in the Tri-City of Sachse, Rowlett, and Garland. And we have a lot of challenges, but we are a open enrollment school district. And we the challenges, our school choice is open. We've been under a court order since 1967, which allows students to go any school that they would like to choose in our district, and it's been an asset for our district. And we just passed a $1.27 billion bond program. So we are excited because we're going to do so much new building and so much new infrastructure in our city and a community that is going to be a great thing for everybody involved in the Garland Independent School District. So I was coach, teacher, administrator for the Garland School District. And like I said, I was born and raised here in this community. So I bleed Garland for sure.
I love that. When you see that common denominator, how important that is. Thank you, Johnny. Hey, listen, I'm just going to dovetail into question number one, and I'm just going to ask you each, why did you run for school committee? And listen, it's a loaded question sometimes because I know that your paycheck at the end of the day after long meetings and executive session doesn't exist. But I will tell you what, the impact that you can have on student learning and the growth of a learning community is huge. So, Amy, why don't we start with you? Why did you run for school committee?
Well, just a little bit of background. I actually was a classroom teacher for 15 years.
Nice.
And then I also did some leadership classes and was really interested in the leadership side of things. So for me, it sort of made perfect sense. I also went on to teach at Cleveland State University for a little while as a supervisor for student teachers. So because I have that whole educational career, this seemed to be a really good way to take a look at that leadership side of things and really decide whether or not I want to go back to school and get an admin certificate, or whether I like just staying more grassroots with the students. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. And so that's what brought me to make that decision to go ahead and run for school board.
Nice. Great. Thank you very much for sharing that. Michael.
So as I said before, I'm born and raised in our community. And when I got to a certain point in my life, I wanted, in my practice, I wanted to do something to give back to my community. And there's a lot of different ways in our community that we can get plugged in, but actually somebody that we go to church with, he was a dentist. So he was a professional in our community, and he was on the West Valley School Board for a long period of time. And I actually really, I still do. I looked up to him and thought, that would be a very impactful way for me to be involved in our community, because as I said before, I'm a strong believer in having strong public schools. in our community is an essential part, just like having great access to healthcare and parks and infrastructure and all of the other things that go along with the community. I just wanted to be involved, and I also thought that it was important to have parent involvement on the school board as well. And so I didn't really I wasn't, it's funny, people were like, are you mad about something? And no, I wasn't mad about anything. And no, I don't want to use this platform for a springboard for any other political career. I just want to be on the school board. And I've been very fortunate. I'm in my 10th year, third term, and I'm still enjoying most of the work. I'll say that. But when we keep the focus on kids and learning and what's best for kids, it's tremendous. And it's given me, I think, a lot more than I've given it, if you will.
I'm glad you said that focus on kids. Remember, if you make every decision based on the best interest of kids, you can't go wrong. And I've had that conversation with so many people. So glad you said that. I'm lucky for you. 3 terms. That's fantastic. We'll talk about term limits maybe somewhere down the road here and how important that is just to get new people in. But nevertheless, I'm glad that you invested in that. Quentin.
Yes, sir. And so, I recently, I'm talking about like last week, got reelected to office, my second.
Congrats.
Yeah, thanks so much. So, but this question is so pertinent because there was a lot of thinking and praying about that question you just asked. Am I doing this again, and why am I doing this again? Right. But the reason why is twofold. One, I'm the return on the investment of my neighborhood. I had so many wonderful people pour into me along the way. And I knew that there was a duty, there was some calling I had in order to be able to give back to my neighborhood and give back to my people in some capacity. It didn't necessarily mean that it was school board, but somehow I needed to be able to serve as a way to be able to say thank you. It wasn't in vain, all the efforts that everyone poured into me. And this really quickly and clearly became the avenue and for me to do so. And so I grew up in a household right around the corner from Christine Chadwick Moss, and the name in the city of Fort Worth, that's a big name because she sat on the school board for 29 years, and we have an elementary school named after her. And I'm proud that she poured into and invested in me along my childhood journey. And so when it was time for her to hang them up, it was like, Mom, I'm here. You let me know. And she tapped me, and I'm grateful she did. And so a lot of that is that return on the investment. And also simultaneously alongside that, I was having a conversation before I ran for school board the first go around. My kids were younger. I had my brothers and sisters who had children as well. And as we were having these young children and they were becoming school age, we were starting to have conversations about where we were going to place them in school. And our local public school, our neighborhood school, the school district in which all of us had graduated from, was almost at the bottom of the list of our options in which we were going to do. And I really felt that to be a sad indictment, particularly because we're proud of the education we have. We've gone on to higher education and gotten graduate degrees, and we got that from Fort Worth ISD. And yet, as new parents, it was, do we want to go to this charter? Do we want to go to this private? Do we want to homeschool? Do we want to do these things? Because we have options. And that didn't sit right with me, the fact that that's where we had to be due to the state of things. So that's the second part as far as why I ran, was to not just point the finger and be like, well, somebody needs to fix school districts. Somebody needs to do these things. It's like, no, we have to be parts of the solution, and we have to be at the table to have the conversation, to see the roles we can play in order to be able to make it where luckily my family has the option to be able to say, where do I want to send my child? There's so many thousands of families in Fort Worth that don't have that option. Their kid's going to have to go to their local neighborhood school. So it should be the best option for them. So I ran to try to make sure that equitable education is there for all of our kids in Fort Worth, not just mine.
I love it. Great stuff right there, Quentin. Thanks for sharing out. Johnny.
Mine is kind of twofold. I ran in 2016 when I was elected. I ran against an incumbent at one other and defeated the incumbent there. And we kind of went through a change of superintendents at that particular time in 2016 and had to hire with a new vision. And so I had a passion. My passion was for for all kids to have a chance and get a quality education. And I wanted all kids to have that opportunity. And I didn't feel like that was the direction that we were going with the prior superintendent. And that's why that I ran for the board. And I also feel coming out of the classroom as a teacher, coach, and administrator, I saw it coming in the pipeline, the shortage and the way things all over the country were having with teacher shortage. And what could I do as a school board member to help ensure that the people in GISD knew that they had a secure job situation and could perform to the highest level that they possibly could. So I have 20 years plus in the classroom as a teacher, coach, administrator, like I said before. So I was kind of the boots on the ground, and I'm the only one on this board right now with any educational experience in the classroom. And so I bring that to the plate when we have meetings, and have opened some eyes for the other board members, which I feel like is very valuable. And I think that we've got a very good board right now, and we're going in the right direction. And we've got a lot of good things for the future. We have a good superintendent, Ricardo Lopez, that we're very proud of, that came out of El Paso and then Mission, and then came to Garland, and is doing a tremendous job. So very happy where we are. And I think that the future is very bright for GISD. And yeah, unlike everybody else, I don't know if you're in public school or charter school, but the charters are kind of surrounding our borders, and that's been tough. And we're, like I said, we have 53,000 students, but we're losing students too, and so now we're going to have to try to recapture, and that's why we're offering a lot of career tech type programs for those kids to come back. So we're looking at every avenue that we possibly can to capture those kids back, and we're going to get them. I guarantee you.
Johnny, you sound like a coach right there when you say that. And I just want to say something before I send it over to Josh. Having that grassroots experience in the classroom, in the educational system, serves you so well, because a lot of people who run for school committee have never stepped foot inside the classroom. They don't understand exactly what the intricacies are, and nor do I expect them to, but they have to make decisions based upon that. So it takes a very solid superintendent to plant the seeds to help them understand exactly what the day-to-day stuff is. So thank you for saying that, Johnny. I appreciate it.
And one other thing I'd like to add to that, it's really kind of sad that most public schools don't have any other type of subcommittees that individual citizens could serve on, that they can learn that process of what it really takes to be a school board representative or serve on a board. You go in that first year or two that you're on that board, it's all a learning process.
Yep.
Unless you have experience in that classroom, it's very tough.
Yeah. And, we'll talk a minute before I hand it over to Josh, but, that's why calibration retreats in the beginning of a school year in the summertime to get everybody on the same page are so important for school committees to be able to be calibrated, hit the ground running, and to know exactly what the expectations are. So, Josh, kick it to you.
So talking about what we're all about, which is the kid business. So let me ask you a question. Let's go back in time, just a handful of years, just a handful. And since Q, you're wearing such an awesome shirt, repping the one and only top best artist out there.
Come on now.
Tell me, who was your favorite teacher ever? Why?
Man, you could have get me in trouble, man, if any of my teachers watch this. But
you can't fake the funk, brother. Let's go.
Can't fake the funk, man. I tell you, man, it's a gentleman by the name of David Balch, man, and I don't even know where he is now, but God bless that man wherever he is, because what he did for me is just cannot. He changed my life in many ways, and so in my context, man, I grew up, in the hood, man, and in my environment, David Balch was antithetical to everything that I was, because it was this small white man with cowboy boots and tight pants on, come to school every day with this coiffed hairstyle, right? And he taught English, man. And I know that my love for reading, my love for writing, my love for education, it came from his classroom, because the way that he broke down Shakespeare, the way he broke down these literary giants and made them applicable to my world that I was in, man. He was just really, really in tune, and he allowed us to be expressive in our thought patterns. He allowed us to be expressive in our writings. And like I said, he looked so out of place in the school. He looked so out of place in my neighborhood. He drove this crazy van to school every day, but he is a brilliant human being who really was able to touch my life, man. So David Balch, my guy.
You can't go wrong with the way you said it, brother. God bless you. Juanito Playa.
Hey, well, mine, believe it or not, was a sixth grade teacher, Miss Vanderstreek. And the reason I said that is because when I was elected to the board in 2016, I received a letter from her. And I don't know how in the world she even got my address, found me, or whatever the case may be, because I know she didn't stay in Garland. But I got a letter from her, and she said, "You know, I had my doubts what you would accumulate or what you would account to by the time you grew up." And, so I think it was a drive and determination that I had not only in the sixth grade, but all the way through school. I did play college athletics whenever I went through school. But my drive and determination was to succeed. And, win or lose, I was going to give it the best I possibly could. And she kind of brought that out in me. And I think that was one thing that she noticed in me that maybe sometimes we don't realize ourselves that we have it in us. But you know what? Even though we may be a C student, we still can perform to the best of our abilities. And so that was me, because that's what I did when I went through high school. All I wanted to do was play ball. And so this teacher was really something special to me. And I really appreciate all the letter that she sent me.
Love it. Amy.
Gosh, there were so many, but there are two that just immediately stick out in my mind. One was my second grade teacher, and it was then after I had that teacher, Karen Kaufman, that I decided I was going to be a teacher. And I just knew. A lot of teachers have this story. They will say that they just knew. And it was after having her that I wanted to be just like her. She was happy. She was new. She was a new teacher. She was, she wasn't perfect, but I think that was the first time I ever got to see a teacher who wasn't shy about her imperfections. And that was what made me think that I too could be a teacher just like her. The second one was in high school, and she was my geometry teacher, Mrs. Krikora. And because I absolutely hated math, this teacher was just, she was that teacher that always said to me, "Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can." Just when I was just falling apart at the seams and tears streaming down, I cannot learn this. I cannot do this. I'm not going to ever learn these postulates and theorems no, I can't do it. Yes, you can. And she would stay after school with me, and she would, it's just all the things that these teachers do for us every day that we don't even think about, and the time and the hours after school, before school, during their lunchtime, where kids are coming in and out of their room to get extra help. This happens all the time, but she was just that one for me.
Love it. Thank you for sharing. Michael.
Amy cheated, man. Amy, you did too. See, you don't get in trouble. I'm still getting in trouble now.
Like I think everybody said, there are a lot, but Ron Galbraith, Mr. G, he was my fifth grade teacher. I think the reason why he's my favorite, among being a terrific teacher and very memorable in fifth grade, is the impact that he's had on my life. When I moved on to junior high, he came to one of our basketball practices, and I was not a very good basketball player, and he had a very wry sense of humor, and he said, "Hey, Michael, you want to see some more time out on the basketball floor?" And I said, "You bet, Mr. G. What'd you have in mind?" And he goes, "You might want to think about doing something other than playing." And I'm like, "What?" Well, Mr. G was he ran the youth basketball program in our community, and he was a longtime high school basketball referee. And starting in seventh grade, I started refereeing basketball. And I've, in addition to being a lawyer, I referee Division I women's college basketball. And it's fantastic. And I think about him all the time. He was my first, when I graduated law school and I was moving back to Yakima, I called him up. I said, "Hey, Mr. G, how can I refed. I wish I would have kept officiating when I was in college and in law school as much as I did. But but he got me involved back in officiating here. He was, obviously my first officiating mentor, but also as I moved on to high school, he was my high school golf coach and very influential there. And I went on to play collegiate golf at the Division III level, but he just, Mr. G, unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago, but just I think he's my favorite because of the amount of impact, the great impact that he's had on my life and continues to have in my life today.
I love those stories. You think about it for a second. And Michael, I'm going to share with you. I'm the president of our IABO section here in Worcester, Massachusetts, and I'm a high school referee, not a
Nice.
college referee. I don't have time to do that, but I do run the entire board. So I love what you do, and I love that.
I don't think I have a time to officiate basketball either, but I still do it.
It's hard to find it, but life is about officiating anyway. Nevertheless. Hey guys, very quickly, looking back at 2022, 2023, talk to me about maybe one or two things in your district that you're really proud of, that you saw happen, that just has changed the trajectory of what your learning community is all about. And Johnny, why don't you start off for us?
Absolutely. As a board, we kept waiting to try to get test scores and see how far our students had really fallen behind coming out of COVID. And of course, it's still everybody is still feeling the effects of that. Yeah. But the one thing that I noticed more than anything else, the drive and the determinations of our teachers, and how everyone in our district, from administrators, they all got it. And what I mean by that, everyone pulled themselves up by the bootstraps and said, we're going to overcome this. And that is what has happened. We are one big family in this district, and we have come together, and we are accomplishing some great things in our district. And that is one of the greatest things that I have seen us accomplish, is how well our students are coming back after such a short period of time from what everybody want to call a COVID cliff or whatever. But anyway, we are coming back because virtual learning just almost killed us. But still, we are doing extremely well, and I'm very proud of. I guess 22, 23 that's probably one of the most memorable things that I'm seeing right now that's happening in our district, is that the kids are focused, our teachers are focused. They're tired. I mean, I'm glad that next Friday is the last day of school, but they have put in the time and the effort to get us where we need to be, and it's been a great school year.
Yeah, thanks for recognizing that, and that's probably going to be synonymous across the board for a common denominator of this conversation. Amy,
couple things. First of all, again, you just like Mr. Beach has just said, coming off of the tail end of the pandemic, the way that we are, this is kind of a miracle that this even happened. But we ended up getting a 5-star rating from the state of Ohio, the Ohio Department of Education, which is the highest ranking that you can get. And I'm extremely proud of that. I owe it all to the hard work of all of our staff and teachers and administrators and everybody that worked together for that. The second thing, though, we have a program that is called, our mascot is the Nordonia Knights. We have a program called Knights Caring for Knights. And Knights Caring for Knights is a backpack program where we send home food for needy families via a backpack that the families take home. And the thing that makes ours a little bit different is that it's student-led. We have a high school teacher that was moderating it, but after a few months, she got it to the point where these volunteers could go in, even if the moderator hadn't even gotten out of her classroom yet. And they had this thing running so smoothly that I just found out that we just heard from some other neighboring food pantries in the area who wanted to interview our school district and find out exactly how we were doing it so that we could be this exemplar district in teaching other places how to do the same thing. Because it's one thing when we can have parent volunteers and adults doing it, but when we can have our own students running something like this, I think it's so much more impactful. And it's really, I mean, having a 5-star rating and all of that, that's one thing. But raising these young adults to be so caring and to learn how to take care of one another, I think that's really why I'm in this. So I feel more proud of that than any other thing this year.
That's fantastic. Shout out to Dr. Joe Clark as well, leading the charge along with your school board. So again, I'll make sure I tag him on this. Quentin, you're up.
Yeah, so I mean, I would have to say the Dunbar Pyramid, man, and you know that's very biased of me because that's my alma mater, man, and that's why I represent now. But I am so very incredibly proud of them. So again, like I said, with single member districts in the city of Fort Worth, and we have pyramids, you know, of schools that feed into our high schools and things like that. And the Dunbar Pyramid, you know, Johnny talked about kind of the slide and things that were happening and you know, coming back from COVID and so where some of our schools were, but across the board, all of the schools within the pyramid showed tremendous growth. And I was at an award ceremony just this week, and we were able to unveil these banners that we were able to give to 3 of our elementary schools within the pyramid for the tremendous growth that they have made. And these principals and these teachers, they just did such an amazing job. And, you know, in there's stigma sometimes in our city about this side of town and about this people group and about what's the capabilities over there. And those banners are going to fly on those schools and show that learning is going on in those buildings and those young people are brilliant. And we have brilliant people teaching and taking care of them. So shouts to the Dunbar Pyramid. Y'all did it. Y'all doing a fantastic job.
Great stuff right there. Michael.
I'm going to echo a lot of what has been said about the achievement, the overall achievement coming out of COVID. But I think that's directly attributed to the attitude of all of our staff, from bus drivers to teachers to custodians to principals. I mean, everybody that's involved. The attitude of being back in person and if you will, quote, normal, end of quote, it's paying off huge dividends objectively on our scoring as far as student growth and lack of learning loss coming out of that period. So I'm just our job as school board members seems really easy because we just have a tremendous staff that just is all in. And one other thing that I'm especially proud of, because I don't remember this occurring in our school district, certainly since I've been on the board, is that 2 weeks ago, we celebrated that our boys basketball team won the academic state championship among the 4A classification, which in Washington is the highest. And they're led by a terrific coach who is a great teacher in our district. And it's just it's a terrific accomplishment for our young men, and not only academically are they stellar, but they had a terrific season on the playing court as well. So anytime I see our students making the most of their opportunities that we are providing at school, and that's just one of a million examples that I could give, that just proves to me that we need to do things as a school district that make kids feel like they belong at school. Because if you feel like you belong at school, you are going to do well at school.
Agreed, 100%. I love that. Well spoken, Josh.
So, as your team, your board member team, one of the most important jobs that you all have, and you have thousands of them, but one of the main ones is to hire a superintendent, correct? So, what would be your vision? What is your experience with hiring superintendents that you could put out there for somebody who's an assistant superintendent, a first-year teacher that wants to be a superintendent? What would be your vision, your role for that position, Michael?
Well, it's challenging. And for me, during my time on the board, we came in with an existing superintendent who left, and then under not the most ideal situations, and we actually elevated our assistant superintendent to the to the main role. And our former superintendent was very, very talented, and he's done a lot, and he did a lot of wonderful things for our district, and is to be credited for a lot of the success. And our new superintendent is very much a different personality, a very much a different person, and they both have their strengths. But I think that the number one thing that in terms of a quality for a superintendent is to have visionary leadership, and to be able to present that vision, and not only explain the vision, but the why that vision is the vision that and the mission that our district should undertake. And in doing that, and in being able to explain the why, how can you rally everyone else behind that so that they're all in? Because a vision with just somebody saying, this is what we're going to do, and I'm not going to listen to anybody else about anything else that they have to say, is just not going to be very fruitful at all. So that's what that visionary leadership with the ability to bring everybody along and be a good, mindful, and active listener.
Thank you, Michael. What advice, what words of wisdom, what vision do you have, Amy, for a potential superintendent?
So there's a couple things, but first and foremost, I feel like it needs to be somebody that puts the students and the families first. Second of all, I feel like it needs to be somebody who knows how to value and take good care of their staff. People have already mentioned here the teacher shortage. I'm going to add the bus driver shortage, the cafeteria staff shortage, the everything shortage in education as well. So to value them. And then finally, somebody who's brave enough to speak to the naysayers and willing to sit down and explain things to them. Like, for example, there's so many, it's so easy for people to say that the reason that school districts don't have money is because of mismanagement or something. That's always the first word out of the naysayers' mouths, is that, they're mismanaging the funds. But we are lucky enough to have a superintendent that does an amazing job in articulating exactly why that isn't so, and how schools are funded, and how, no matter how good we are, we still do have to depend on financial support from our community. And he does a great job of trying to explain that and reaching out to the community and communicating with them. So I feel like we hit the jackpot with Joe Clark. And I really do feel that we have a great superintendent. And those are definitely three good qualities that every superintendent should have.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Johnny.
Yes, I think that one, the person that you're looking at, if it's aspiring, whatever the case may be, have a love for education and know for fact that you're on call for 24/7. Your phone never ceases. So you need to have you need to have thick skin, know how to motivate the people and your staff around you and the people that you work for, be a relationship builder for your community, and be involved in your community through your chambers and your city organizations to really show that it's a buy-in for the entire community for your district to be successful. Surround yourself with good people. With your cabinet, make sure that you're surrounding yourself with assistant superintendents and the CFOs and those people, that you can build a team that everybody is confident in, and the rest of the team is confident in not only you, because your leadership skills brought those people into your district. Also, when you come to the board, make sure, or you're applying or whatever the case may be, make sure you have a plan. Don't just come in and overload it with 15 goals and try to accomplish each one of those goals, because it's impossible. In our district, we have one goal, and that is for all students to get an education. And everyone on our board has bought into it. Now, you can have some subsets from that, but the one thing is, it's about student achievement, and you want those students to do that. So have a simple plan whenever you go in. Don't try to sugarcoat your board with ideals of, I'm going to do all these great things, and then you fall short because they're expecting you to accomplish everything when you come forward. So just have you a good plan, make it simple, keep it simple, and just like I said, be ready to be on call 24/7 because people will lean on you and they will ask you all kinds of questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny. Q.
Yeah, lots of wisdom being spewed here, and I definitely echo those sentiments. I will just simply add, context matters. You're going to be a superintendent. I need you to be a superintendent in the context in which you're going to be superintendent in. You being superintendent in Fort Worth is not the same as you being a superintendent in Garland or in Ohio or in Washington. I need you to be the superintendent of the context of the people that are there, because people have different aspects of themselves, and there's different cultural norms, and there's different expectations, there's different everything that comes along with the various contexts. So as you get to know those people, and much like Johnny talked about the plan, not just a plan for education. We didn't ask you to be the Secretary of Education for the United States. Have a plan for the district you're going to be the superintendent of, right? Because there's going to be contextualization there that needs to be taken care of. Those problems are going to be different than the school district next door. Can you come in and say, for these people, these students, these families, these buildings, these administrators, this is what I want to do, and it's about this, not just about the job of superintendent, the superintendent of this district and these people.
So let's take it one step further now. Okay, superintendent obviously sitting at the top right now, school committee overseeing all the policies and all the procedures. Now let's talk about principals. And in a very short, brief statement, let's talk about what do you look for in the principals that are hired in the district. I know that you don't hire the principals. That is a superintendent's job. We understand that. But you still have say in understanding of what the grand scope of that's like. Michael, why don't you start off?
Great listening and problem solving.
I love that. Yes, I agree with that. Quentin, that was easy and quick. Love it.
Yeah, competency and humanity.
Bingo. Johnny.
Had drive and determination and knowing what you want to accomplish when you go into that building and do the job that is set forth for you. A lot of times they're going in to try to clean up a situation. And I know that some people are geared for that. Some people aren't. And some of them get in over their head. But build a team and build relationship with your teachers.
Front door to back door. I love that right there too. Amy.
Mine was similar in that I think principals should definitely be going into all those classrooms and getting to know all those teachers so that she can help. And this is the second part of it, empower those teachers to play to their strengths. There's no way to do that if you don't know them. So to be in those classrooms as much as you possibly can, not as somebody who's being a micromanager, but as somebody who's just there to get to know you and to as a teacher and to help you learn to how to play to your strengths and help kids be better than they already are.
Awesome, right there. Great stuff across the board. Josh.
So we all know that there's a teacher shortage out there. We've heard this in our podcast for the whole last year, right, Dean?
Yep.
And so right now, I want you to talk to that freshman in college. Insert your college university around you. And they're hesitant of joining the best profession, the profession that creates all the other professions. Q, convince that individual to come on over to Fort Worth.
Come get this money because we pay well.
It's all about the money.
Yo, you're going to get a job. You're going to go into the teaching profession. You might as well get broke off that paper. You know what I mean? So, no, I am proud of that, though. We did just have that in one of our board meetings where it showed how competitive we are with other districts and across the board. We're paying folks. And I understand it's actually monetary value, but what it also shows is how much we value what it is that you're going to do as a professional. You deserve to be able to make a living wage while you do it. You know the platitudes, and hopefully people hear it enough, how much teachers are needed. We sit here and talk about our favorite teachers. We're all adults with professions and doing our thing now, but we still can get back in that mindset of that person who touched our lives. That's who that freshman in college right now is about to become very quickly. So it's a beautiful profession. It's needed. Every one of us needs one. Come to a good school district where we're going to love on you and give you that money.
Amy.
I feel like I just had some discussions with some fellow teachers of mine just the other day. And we said, as much as we hear about this teacher shortage, I think also it's also going to still be an attractive field to many people, especially people who are moms, like myself, that like to be, have that same kind of schedule that your children have. That flexibility is something that really is not offered elsewhere. I mean, that is something that is unique about teaching, is that you are going to have a schedule that's similar to your children's schedule. So that is definitely a plus. I also do think that, as many people talk about how teachers aren't paid well, I think that they can be. And I think that it is a very good way to have a safe career, that where you can establish a retirement and establish good medical benefits to help your family. God forbid anything ever happens. Teachers also have pretty good health care, at least here in Ohio we do. So I think those are all some really good selling points still for teachers.
Thank you, Amy. Michael.
Well, it's funny. I wasn't planning on saying come get you some money. We're a very competitive district as well, and in my world of being an estate planning attorney, I actually do a lot of estate planning for teachers, and everything that Amy and Q had said, just I mean that's a fact. I mean it's a great, you're gonna have a great. It's a livable wage. I'm proud of what we've done in our district. Great benefits. The other thing that I tell people, I tell people, if I wasn't a lawyer, I'm sure I would be a teacher or an administrator. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. I enjoy teaching. I feel like I'm educating my clients every day. So I am a teacher. I mentor other referees. I teach in the summer at camps and present at camps. So I'm an educator. I'm not in the traditional classroom. So it's a great thing. And every time that I go to school and I'm around it, I don't want to leave. But I enjoy my profession too. But it's a wonderful profession, and you will have a wonderful life.
Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah, first of all, I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm going to tell them that they're going to be on a roller coaster ride. They're going to have peaks and they're going to have valleys, just like you would working in any kind of industry or anything else. But I also am going to share my experiences with them that I had in the classroom. When I came out of college, I did not want to go into teaching. That's what my degree was in. Didn't want to do it. My parents forced me to really do it, and I spent my entire career in there and retired from it, because I loved it. I saw that what I was accomplishing with the kids. So I think that once they see that in a school district, then we as a school district, we need to have a support system in place, and we'll tell them that we do have one in place for you. We also are giving you career opportunity for advancement. If you want to get into a higher level, if you want to go to either interventionist, if you want to be an IA, if you want to be an assistant principal, whatever area you want to go into, we have that career opportunity for you in GISD, and we're here because I always tell everybody we are family in GISD, and and also I want to tell them that you need to come to Garland because our district's the best. Simple as I can put it.
Good stuff, right?
Love it. Thank you.
Yep, great stuff right there. All right, we're going to go really quick right here. Really fast answer with this one. What makes a great leader? Two things from your mindset that makes a great leader. And I'm talking from superintendent to principal to teachers to IAs to anybody that's involved with dealing with kids. What comes to mind? What makes a great leader from the school committee standpoint? Let's start off with Quentin.
Yeah, remembering people. You're not leading just in a vacuum. You're leading people. So treating people with respect and humanity, making sure that contextualization is there, that I need to help this person in this moment for us to be successful. Remembering that you're leading people. That makes a great leader.
We're in the people business. I love that. Johnny.
One, that the individual is very transparent, open door policy. It has the able to have be responsive to the community and to his teachers, not afraid to answer any type of tough situation by email, text, or whatever the case may be to try to find out a solution, and just be a relationship builder with your community, with your teachers, and everybody involved in the whole gamut. Because, like I said, it's 24/7 for a superintendent. They've got the toughest job that I know, and that's what I would want to do. You know, not everybody's going to like them. That's just human nature. But you know what? You do your best and you try your hardest, and that's the best that you can possibly do.
Love to hear that, Michael.
Again, with some things that I've said earlier, great listening skills, and then also that ability to connect with others. If people feel like they're being listened to and you connect and you care about them, they are likely to do anything for you.
Relationships. Network. Love it. Amy.
Somebody who definitely is a good leader, has a vision. Even if that vision changes, it's something that that they're always aspiring to do more. And then also somebody who inspires growth and change.
Fair enough.
What do you think, Dean? How do we do today? What do you think?
That's another touchdown, Josh. I'll tell you what, I could go on for another hour with this because these are great answers. And these are answers that are germane to every school district across the United States. Okay, we're not creating widgets here. We're creating kids, and we're creating learning environments. We're creating opportunities and experiences. So that is so important. And your job as a school committee is the single most important job because you drive the ship. You just do. Whether you like it or not, you sit at the top, you make those big global decisions that will set the tone for your entire district. So, yeah, thank you very much. Josh, you in agreement?
I'm in agreement. Hey, you know what? And I would be remiss if we don't ask the last question, brother.
What?
45 seconds, guys. No more than 45 seconds. We're getting close to that edge. We know that you go to tons of events, and we know you love them all, from pre-K to high school. Give us one or two that you love attending every year. Q.
Teacher of the Year celebration.
Michael.
Graduation.
Amy.
Same. Graduation.
Johnny
Yeah, it's
Beach.
graduation all the way. Yeah, when you see that culmination, it's amazing. And Josh, I'll have to admit, it's MPA too, because that's kids that fall through the crack if we didn't have that program in GISD.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And you know what, Dean? I think we scored another touchdown. We scored another touchdown. Up the A gap. Touchdown. We got that championship trophy thanks to all the knowledge that's around us. But you know what? Dean Packard, it's not done.
Never done, Josh. Never done.
This Sunday, what do we have?
The flagship show, Josh, 7 p.m.
Flagship show. Hey, did you ever see that movie with Hilary Swank, Freedom Riders?
I think so.
Did you ever see that one? Well, we're going to have Dr. Manny Scott, another superstar, this Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Join us. Thank you to all our guests. Thank you for being here. And join us this Sunday for Dr. Manny Scott. Take it away,
Hey,
Dean.
listen, very much, guys. Thank you so much for being here. On behalf of Amy, Michael, Quentin, Johnny, and Josh, I want to say thank you very much. Make sure you have a great week with your kids because the kids deserve the best you that is possible. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Be well. Stay on, cast.